Now, I don't know about you guys, but over the years, I really have put it out there that I always felt that Phoebe Waller-Bridge was a horrible casting decision for Indiana Jones 5 when it was first announced, and when they first announced that she was going to be one of the leading roles in this movie, and look where it is today. It's really bad at the box office. Disney and Lucasfilm have lost hundreds of millions of dollars, Lucasfilm specifically, of course, and how that has been impacting future Star Wars budgets for their TV shows and films moving onwards. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into what plan Phoebe Waller-Bridge has all set up for Tomb Raider and James Bond 26. Now, you guys may or may not know about anything about the Bond franchise, but for those of you that do not know, they are getting somebody completely new for the upcoming Bond film. They want to get this thing out and rolling, by the way, by 2026 for the bare minimum there. That's what they want to do. And everything that's going on with the writer's strike and SAG and AFTRA, it's not helping at all either. But Phoebe has other plans for Amazon's Tomb Raider series for the character of Lara Croft, as well as James Bond, and what Barbara Broccoli is allowing to happen, I think is going to be a true tragedy to both franchises. Let's discuss. Now, on top of this, we know that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is an insufferable actress and plays a lot of insufferable characters. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. That is the ultimate truth. She is Brie Larson 2.0. However, with those like Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Kathleen Kennedy still trying to upsell Indy 5 during the box office collapse, one big plan happening behind the scenes right now, both for Amazon as well as United Artists Releasing and Universal Pictures, is that Phoebe Waller-Bridge has a big plan to essentially tarnish the brands of Tomb Raider and James Bond, specifically the Bond 26. Now, Barbara Broccoli is said to be allowing Phoebe Waller-Bridge's return and will be instructing on how Bond should be portrayed in a totally new way that will create a more softer version of James Bond in the upcoming 26 movie that they want to release by 2026 is the plan. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is also looking to race swap Lara Croft for the upcoming Tomb Raider series for Amazon. Both of these movements by Waller-Bridge are described to be something that she is heavily invested in, along with her moves to either, of course, both franchises that she plans to contribute to, since she and others consider herself an excellent creator. By focusing on developing a softer version of James Bond that is said to be more emotional and sensitive. Now guys, let me just say one thing here about Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I really am crossing my fingers. Please, Barbara Broccoli, get rid of Phoebe Waller-Bridge contributing to how Bond should be portrayed in the 26 movie, because I feel that No Time to Die really missed a lot of marks in that film. You know, having, you know, that woman taking the moniker of 007, that was all Phoebe Waller-Bridge's idea, by the way. She also pulled a lot of story elements in there that were actually all her ideas. Now, though she's not writing the script, let's be very clear about this. Phoebe Waller is like telling them, let's do this, this, or that with these Bond movies. And that, I think, is something that Barbara Broccoli should just immediately drop on all fronts, ASAP right now. And you know what? With the way things that are going right now with Kathleen Kennedy, I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that Barbara does not follow down that path, because this is truly going to be the beginning of that if she begins to allow this to happen. And of course, I'm hopeful that maybe, and just maybe, you know, Phoebe Waller will be so busy with Tomb Raider that maybe she won't have the time to move onwards with this James Bond plan, but that's just wishful thinking, I guess. But moving to the next big thing here is this. You guys may or may not agree with me, but I feel the two best Bonds of all time, at least in my opinion, are Sean Connery and Pierce Brosnan. I think those are the two best Bonds of all time. Timothy Dalton, yeah, he was great and all, but when you look at other Bond iterations, Daniel Craig, you know, was hit or miss for me, at least, as a fan. But when you look at Phoebe Waller-Bridge, it really concerns me knowing that she is at the helm of the casting decision-making process. And we know that there's been a lot of back and forth scenarios happening behind closed doors over at United Artists Releasing and Universal Pictures and Barbara Broccoli and what they're doing over there. So moving to the next thing here, alright, this is where things begin to get even more intense, is that Phoebe Waller-Bridge and her plan with Barbara Broccoli is to provide a totally different take on James Bond this time around by also getting involved in the casting decision-making process, like I said before, that they are going through right now. As for Tomb Raider, initially Phoebe is still undecided, completely as if she wants to race swap Lara Croft or insert herself as Lara Croft into the story, since she is creating the series for Amazon anyway. Waller-Bridge is actually described to be dedicated to both projects moving onwards, apart from discussions at Lucasfilm of an Indy 5 sequel featuring Helena Shaw and Teddy that is most likely, of course, going to fall apart in a matter of weeks or months at most. Phoebe Waller does not want Bond to be this womanizer or objectifying women in the upcoming Bond film, and wants to separate the whole dynamic of having Bond girls with James Bond for, of course, the character and his focus on the 26 movie. That's another big fail. Why would you want to destroy that element of James Bond that has been an ongoing tradition for 25 whole Bond movies? She wants to literally rip apart the dynamic of Bond girls and James Bond, being like that guy, he always latches on to the women and stuff like that. She doesn't like that. Basically what she wants is a Bond that is going to be more emotional, sensitive, keeps to himself, away from women, and just focuses on the mission. Strictly, period, the end. In other words, she doesn't want him really kind of doing things in the traditional sense of what Bond has done from, Bond 1 to 25. It just doesn't make any sense, and like I said before, even though it's wishful thinking, I'm really hoping that Barbara Broccoli knocks some sense into her own mind and backs off Phoebe Waller-Bridge. You have to do it, Barbara. It's the only way to actually make this franchise survive. So, look, I've said this multiple times that I think that Phoebe Waller is a terrible decision to lead an Amazon series, let alone a Lara Croft show, or a Tomb Raider series, whatever have you. I think that the remake alone was a little off too. I always felt like the Angelina Jolie films were, though they weren't really well established, they were just fun, entertaining movies, right? And they're nothing like masterpieces or anything, but I'm not going to be too surprised if Phoebe Waller-Bridge goes through with the decision to self-insert her as an actress playing Lara Croft into the upcoming Tomb Raider series, because we have heard a lot of rumblings that that's why she took on the role of Helena Shaw as a launching pad for her actual role as Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider show for Amazon. And it would be a waste of time if she didn't do that, I guess. So there's a lot of things going into this, guys. A lot of big problems happening with Disney, happening with United Artists Releasing and Barbara Broccoli, and Amazon even. They've done a terrible job, by the way, with everything related to Lord of the Rings too. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.